It is time now for a check of the top business news stories. Our business editor, Kate Moody's here. Hi there, Kate.
Hi, Tom.
The US President Joe Biden extending some emergency measures to help homeowners during the COVID pandemic. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, the White House has extended a national moratorium on foreclosures for a second time. The measures were first renewed on the president's first day in office in January. They had been due to expire at the end of March. They'll now remain in effect for a further 3 months. Data show some 12 million Americans are worried about making their next mortgage payment. Some 3 million of them have applied to pause or reduce their payments for a set period. That's another emergency program that was brought in during the pandemic. A moratorium on evictions is, for now, set to run out at the end of March. Meanwhile, President Biden is traveling to Wisconsin today, his first trip out of Washington since his inauguration, to press his case for a $1.9 trillion pandemic relief bill. Republicans have balked at the high price tag. A small group of moderates is still negotiating a possible bipartisan compromise. Eurozone member states should maintain their financial support for businesses and households until the COVID vaccination programs are well underway. That's the message from the bloc's finance and economy ministers, who held virtual talks on Tuesday and said the economic recovery for the Eurozone would be weaker than initially forecast for 2021. Meanwhile, governments are preparing their proposals for how they want to spend their portions of the bloc's €750 billion recovery program. Plans are to be submitted to the European Commission from this Friday.
These national plans must address all or significant subset of challenges in the country-specific recommendations. They should set out how each country will contribute to the green and digital transitions, and they should strike a proper balance between reforms and investments.
Take a look at the day's trading action now. A fairly muted close for the major European indices. Stocks in Milan dropped 2/3 of a percentage point. Investors did, though, rush to buy Italian government bonds in the first such offering since former European Central Bank President Mario Draghi was sworn in as Prime Minister. Wall Street briefly hit new record highs earlier in the session. Stocks have turned back from those earlier gains slightly. The Nasdaq slightly below the flat line with about an hour of trade to go there. Energy has been the best performing sector, rising about 2%, as freezing temperatures and winter storms in the south of the United States sparked a rally in oil prices. On the cryptocurrency market, the value of Bitcoin continued its volatile rise, topping $50,000 for the first time before dropping back slightly. The price of the most popular digital currency has gained some 75% since the start of this year. There have been a rush of investors as financial institutions begin to open up to that relatively new market, and companies like Tesla and PayPal have said they'll begin accepting it as a form of payment. Regulators remain cautious, though. The heads of the US and EU central banks have said they should be viewed as a risky investment rather than a commodity. New figures confirm traffic at the French capital's 2 major airports was nearly 3/4 lower in January than it was a year ago. Airports around the world are struggling. Even Dubai, the busiest hub for international flights in the world, says its passenger numbers are down 70%. Yana Lee has the story.
This is what one of the world's busiest airports looks like in February 2021. Empty terminals, fewer flights, and just a trickle of passengers. Passenger traffic at Dubai International Airport dropped 70% last year, a consequence of COVID-19 related travel restrictions and lockdowns. Among those who have been directly affected by this drop in numbers, 5,000 employees, mostly from service and maintenance, who were laid off.
We had to respond in a very dramatic way to be able to keep our liquidity and maintain some form of operation. Exactly when that recovery will really gain pace and will manifest itself in significant volumes of people wanting to fly again really depends on many factors.
Passenger numbers also fell some 70% in Europe, according to Airport Operator Association ACI. Major hubs such as London's Heathrow and Frankfurt's Am Main seeing just a fraction of travellers flying to or through their establishments. While airlines and manufacturers have received substantial aid, airports have been pleading for more financial support. Germany's government responded last week by announcing a €900 million bailout for the country's embattled air hubs. Here in France, Orly has closed Terminal 4 until further notice, and the government has scrapped plans to build a new terminal at Charles de Gaulle. With travel restrictions likely to remain in place for several months, industry workers could be facing more turbulence ahead.
The coronavirus pandemic has reignited a price war between supermarkets and producers here in France. Annual price negotiations between retailers and suppliers are set to conclude at the end of the month, with farmers saying they're coming under increasing pressure to lower prices. This despite a law passed in 2018 aimed at ensuring that farmers are paid their fair share. Yuka Royer has more.
Behind the supermarket shelves, a battle over prices. Suppliers are coming under increasing pressure, particularly smaller companies.
Chaque année, on a l'impression que pendant 2 mois, on ne vit plus. On joue notre avenir. Ouais. Ça, c'est une certitude.
In its annual negotiations with retailers, this fruit juice and soup company agreed to lower the prices of their products by 7 to 9%, fearing repercussions.
Quand on dit David contre Goliath, c'est vraiment la position. Si à un moment donné, on n'est pas en capacité de baisser suffisamment les prix, on va se faire enlever un certain nombre de produits.
That's exactly what happened this year. One large supermarket chain cut the product range from this firm by half, resulting in a 10% decline in its revenue. Despite the 2018 food and agriculture law aimed at ensuring fair prices for producers, retail giants continue to put pressure on suppliers. They say it's necessary because of reduced purchasing power of consumers due to the coronavirus crisis.
Il y a plus d'un tiers des Français qui ont du mal à finir leur mois sans être en déficit, sans être dans le rouge. Donc naturellement, il faut en tenir compte. Il faut faire en sorte qu'il n'y ait pas globalement d'augmentation massive des prix.
More and more producers are calling for price negotiations every 2 years instead of 1, so they can have more stability and concentrate on their business.
Something to think about the next time you do your grocery shopping, Tom.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed. Our business editor, Kate Moody, there. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Don't go away.